Here's Josh Hennig.
Tuesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. We got a busy show ahead of you today, as you heard Mike Gill mention on the Sports Bench. Not one, but two guests coming up this hour. Josh Booty, the famous LSU quarterback who also tried to play Major League Baseball. He is the host of the Believe in SEC Quarterbacks podcast. He'll join us coming up at 6:15 tonight. Plus, ESPN radio host Freddie Coleman. You hear him every Monday through Friday night from 9 to 1 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. Freddie and Fitzsimmons is the show. He will join us to get more into the NFL, Super Bowl, Eagles, and more coming up as well. Don't forget, the text board is open at 609-403-0973. To get on the conversation, 609-403-0973. Also, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just go to 97.3 ESPN on Facebook, YouTube, where you watch the show live. We are in the Matt Black Kia Studios on 97.3 ESPN. I am Josh Hennig hanging out with you. And I want to start with this NFL draft talk because this was a topic that was on air and off air today, before, during, and after the Sports Bash today about this Kyle Pitts. If you haven't seen on the website at 973ESPN.com, you probably have seen at some point that, there is a mock draft out there that is all of a sudden pinning Kyle Pitts to the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not going to say I love it, but I also am not going to say I hate it either. And here's why. I understand the fascination with Kyle Pitts. The idea that, well, maybe you're moving on from Zach Ertz. The idea of maybe you're looking to go in a different direction for the Philadelphia Eagles. This idea that for this franchise moving forward, you need to keep some sort of semblance of what you've had success with before. And I get all of those points. But let me ask all of you a question. When was the last time there was a team in the NFL that was very successful, winning games, going deep in the postseason with a two-headed monster at tight end? I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll end the suspense for you. It was Gronk and it was Hernandez. That was it. The concept of the two tight ends sounds exciting and fun and cool and all this stuff, but in application, the purpose of the two tight end structure is that one guy blocks and the other guy goes out and routes, and that the blocking tight end can be used as a decoy and vice versa with the receiving tight end in different formations. If you have two tight ends who are primarily almost the same player, aren't you losing some of the value of that? Aren't you losing some of what makes that a weapon? Because what really a tight end is a slightly less athletic, slightly slower wide receiver at that point. So what you're doing is you're going to say, we're going to line up two guys who, yes, they're both athletically gifted in Dallas Goedert and Kyle Pitts. But they're two guys who are not going to break the top off a defense. They're not going to burn every guy. Just because it's hard to find somebody to guard, it doesn't mean teams will come up with a system to guard them. Listen, you bring two tight ends, that means you only have 5 linemen blocking. You're not bringing a tight end back to block. If you have a running back blocking or chipping, you're weakening the protections. And what you're going to have to ask Carson Wentz to do, something that he has not done in about a year and a half, is be a quarterback who gets the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds or less. So if that's the case, you're not just bringing a different offense, but you're betting on Carson Wentz being able to handle the concept of not being a ball hog In other words, stop holding the ball for 3 to 4 seconds. Carson Wentz was among the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this year at holding the football and not throwing it. So if that's what you want to bring in a tight end, you want to have 2 tight ends, you want to go 12 personnel, that's fine. But you're telling me that you are going to convince Carson Wentz to stop holding on to the football, stop not going to checkdowns, to stop playing hero ball, and to stop making poor decisions when a receiver might be wide open, but he has to go for the big play, as they call it. You are just somehow going to get Carson Wentz to stop being a gambler all of a sudden. I just have a lot of questions about that whole situation. I really do. And again, I don't hate Kyle Pitts. Watched him a lot of Florida. I'm a big college football guy. I know exactly who he is. I know exactly what he brings to the table. He's a freak athlete. He is physically on the level of, he's kind of a combination of 3 players. He's got the freak twitchiness of Hernandez, who was in New England. He has the length and strength of a guy like Travis Kelce. And he's got the explosiveness in the red zone of a Gronk in his prime. That's what you're talking about in potential. You're talking about a potentially all-time talent at the tight end position. But is that what you really need? Do you really need another tight end? Or do you need another wide receiver? Or do you need another offensive lineman? Or do you need more defensive help? But let's be realistic. When I watched the Philadelphia Eagles this year, after the quarterback and after all the injuries, I had some serious questions about the secondary, the defense, of depth. We know they have guys who can rush the passer, and we know they have guys who can play defensive line. But outside of Alex Singleton, who really plays defense for this team? I have a ton of questions about this team when it comes to a lot of things that have nothing to do with the tight end. I don't hate the idea, but I just have a lot of questions. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Game Night being brought to you by my friends over at weightliftinghq.com. Weightliftinghq.com is your home in South Jersey for all of your health and fitness equipment. They are located right online. So you don't have to go to a store. You don't have to go window shopping. No, you can shop right on your phone or your computer and deliver the equipment right to your home and help get you set up to help you get started immediately. Bench and squat racks, kettlebells, dumbbells, cardio and fitness machines, resistance bands, whatever you need to meet your health and fitness goals and to work out from home, weightliftinghq.com is there to supply you the equipment you need. Listen, maybe you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable going back to the gym yet, or maybe you're somebody who has a gym membership, but you can't get to the gym enough because you are busy at home. You're working, you have kids, whatever's going on. Weightliftinghq.com can deliver the equipment to your home so you can work out from home and never have to go to the gym unless you really want to. Weightliftinghq.com. Use the code radio10 for 10% off at checkout of your entire order. That's radio10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order at weightliftinghq.com. 609-403-0973 is the text word again in the conversation. Also, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, 973 ESPN. You can watch the show live here in the Matt Black Kia studios on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, don't forget, still to come on the show, we have Josh Booty, former LSU quarterback, former baseball player. We'll get into him about what's going on with the SEC quarterbacks. He is the host of the Believe in SEC Quarterbacks podcast. Also, Freddie Coleman from ESPN Radio will join us as well at 6:40. Don't forget, we do have my FanDuel Sportsbook pick of the night coming up in just about, I would say about 30 minutes from now. We'll get to that as well here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app. And don't forget, 97.3 mobile app is free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City. All your Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, and Phillies coverage on the website, 973ESPN.com. Also on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell, it's good! Burkott, Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tomorrow after high school basketball.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Let's check in at the New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division.
Fire! Fire! Where's the fire?
Don't panic. You're just feeling the heat of our new Hot Sevens family of scratch-offs.
Wait, no fire?
Just the hottest tickets in Jersey, with top prizes up to $3 million.
Wow, I should tell Kevin we don't need the fire extinguisher.
I got it!
Extinguisher.
Play the new Hot Sevens family with over $325 million in cash prizes, because anything can happen in Jersey.
Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Without more licensed workers, Gary's roofing business might hit its ceiling.
Hey, that new contract just got pushed up. We are going to need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Hey, Gary, you booked me on that other job next week.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit iloveLyleBack.com.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced if the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where you can watch the show live Also, you can check out the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. You can watch the show. You can listen to the show anywhere you are in the world. And joining us right now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline, he played quarterback at LSU. He also was a Major League Baseball prospect with the Miami Marlins. Now they're the Miami Marlins. Back then they were the Florida Marlins. Is when Josh Booty played for them. He joins us right now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. He is the host of the Believe in SEC Quarterbacks podcast, a part of the Believe Podcasting Network. Josh, how you doing today?
I am doing awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on the show. And yeah, it was the old school Marlins back in the day, in the 90s.
Yeah, and that people forget that when the Marlins came first on board, that was one of those things. They would like, the cool fluorescent, green, aquamarine looking uniforms. The 90s were a weird time, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had when I signed Renee Latchman, these are great baseball guys, and Jim Leland came along. It was just an amazing time for baseball. The Braves were always the leaders in the division, and they had, Maddox and Smoltz and Avery and Chipper Jones and Terry Pendleton. Terry ended up coming over to play with us a little bit, and I learned a lot from him playing third base. But, it was a fun time, and I was right out of high school, and it was a blast. But, man, I'm a football guy, brother. My dad's a football coach, so I got back into the football stuff, and still so interested in football and talk football all the time. So it's my first love for sure.
I hear you, man. And listen, I'm so glad you're here because I want to talk about some of these SEC quarterbacks because I feel like there's been such a huge shift when it comes to the NFL. Back in the day, it used to be if you were a quarterback from the SEC, it was like, is that guy really going to play in the NFL? And now it seems like every year they're producing multiple prospects. So in your eyes, let's start here. What has been the greatest growth and evolution from Tim Couch back in 1999 to these guys we have today?
Well, Tim, took advantage of a wide open spread offense that Hal Mummy ran back, in the late 90s. And he was such an amazing player. He had arm trouble in the National Football League. I was a backup of Tim's 3 years in Cleveland. And, he had some real arm problems, but man, he could really play and was the first pick overall. I think the difference now is that everybody is trying to run this wide open system where, everybody gets touches. It's a fun brand of football to watch. Your receivers pile up numbers. The running back also gets to pile up some numbers with this RPO stuff. It really takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback, and they can play sooner at the college level and at the NFL level. So you're seeing athletic kids play the position. Used to be you'd have to be 6'4", 6'5", a howitzer for an arm, but running and mobility and getting outside the pocket and, changing directions, it wasn't that big a deal. Now it's like they're a point guard on the football field. And there's only several guys like Tom Brady that are still alive out there. Drew Brees, of course, is one. Phillip Rivers is one. I'm trying to think of some guys that are in that old school mold that are still having success. They're like computers now, so they're much different. These young guys are all guys that can move their feet. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Mahomes, they all move their feet and make plays outside the pocket, even like a Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson. I mean, there's just so many of them now. And so I think the NFL is looking for guys that can really put pressure in so many different ways against the defense and can play early, because they're paying them a lot of money, especially if they're the first round guys to play. So I think that's the difference, is that everybody's trying to do it now in college. Back when Couch was playing in the 90s, or even before, like when Aikman was playing and Manning was playing, I mean, there just wasn't that many wide open offenses at the college level. Now it goes all the way into the high school level, and they're throwing the football like crazy.
It's funny you mentioned Aikman because he's a very interesting case in the fact that he started at Oklahoma. They promised him they were going to go to a spread system, and that's why he had the transfer to UCLA. So you could argue that he was way ahead of the guys like today, like Justin Fields.
For sure. Troy Aikman is one of the, best prospects to ever come out. If you really look at probably the top 5 or 6, and kind of leads into Trevor Lawrence this year when you talk quarterbacks, but the Elways of the world, the Troy Aikmans of the world, the Peyton Mannings, the Andrew Luck, and now Trevor Lawrence. I mean, in my lifetime, since I've been old enough to collect a football card or baseball card, those are the top 5 guys that are coming out where you go, they can't miss because of their character, their size, their athleticism, their arm strength. It's just now when you look at the full covered of prospects, a lot of them can do a lot of different things. You know, back in the day, it was you had that top guy, and then maybe everybody else was just a shade smaller, you know, not as good an arm. Now it's like, man, you just don't know. Justin Fields could end up with an unbelievable team and throw the dog out of the football like Justin Herbert did this year, and, you know, and he could have tons of success his rookie year. And then you could land and have to sit behind a couple years like Jordan Love's going to have to do with Aaron Rodgers and not play. So, I mean, just kind of depends on where you land, where you fall. Do you have the opportunity or not? And then can you make the most of it?
Josh Booty joining us here on the Boardwalk on the Hotline here on 97.3 ESPN. You can follow on Twitter at Josh Booty 10. Also check out the Believe in SEC Quarterbacks podcast. And of course, he's also launching the new social change app. We'll get into that in just a bit as well. Josh, I want to ask you about a couple of the quarterbacks who are coming out of the SEC this year. And I want to start with Mac Jones. I feel like he's the biggest surprise and the fastest riser. I've been hearing and reading from everyone that he has impressed a lot of people at the Senior Bowl. There's a lot of teams that are now looking at him as a first-round pick. What has been the key to this guy's evolution? Because it feels like his rise is a little similar to what we saw, not the same, obviously, but a little similar to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it is. You know, the guy's made great decisions. He was flawless all year. Sarkisian did a good job, the play caller there at Alabama, that's now the head football coach at Texas. Known him forever. He just thinks the world of him. He's a heady player. He's still got that baby face. So you, as a scout, I'm thinking, okay, or front office guy or coach, I'm thinking, okay, he's got a lot of potential, but yet he's still not even got hair on his face. You know, he can't even grow a beard. I mean, he's accurate, good downfield thrower. He played against, you know, at Alabama, you play against the best players every day in practice in college football. Like it or not, Alabama's the baddest of the baddest. And so he's gone up against those defenses year in, year out, day in, day out. And Saban is bringing a lot to the table. And they always got, you know, first rounders on the defensive front, at the linebacker position, at the defensive back, in the defensive backfield. So every day he's having to play against some of the best players in college football. I mean, you can't get more closer to the NFL than a practice at Alabama. I would think that it would be harder than a Senior Bowl practice in a lot of ways, to be honest with you. That's how good they are. That's how many prospects they are. So if he can do it in practice, you know, I don't even worry about the games as much as practice, because that's where he's going to face the best defense that he faces all year and in practice every day. So I like that about him, because he's had to compete at a very, very high level since he stepped on campus 4 years ago. And now he can transition to the NFL a lot better than some of the other kids that hadn't had to practice at that level and go up against Saban's defenses every day in practice.
Another quarterback coming out of the SEC is Kyle Trask, and he's a very interesting case to me because we haven't seen a ton of Florida quarterbacks come in the NFL and have a ton of success. You know, it's been a far few and in between. Most of the guys who've come in have been more like Rex Grossman than they've been like anybody else. So what is about Kyle Trask that makes him different as an NFL prospect, and how does he, in your mind, project to the NFL level?
Well, because he's big and he's tough, he's physical, he can move. You know, he showed a lot of pocket presence. He throws guys open. He had a couple of great players. I mean, Tony and Pitts, is the receiver and the tight end there, could both be first rounders, which was a huge, help to him. But at the same time, Mullen understood what he could do with this guy, and he threw for a ton of yards. I mean, he set all the Florida passing records, single season stuff. His completion percentage was way up there. I just like him a lot. I don't know if he's an absolute game changer at the next level, like a Matt Stafford or like a guy that, you know, can throw like a Josh Allen. I don't think he can do that kind of thing, but I do think he's tough, competitive son of a gun that you can get a lot. I don't know. He's pretty and tough as a pine knot. He's had to endure a lot of stuff too. I mean, he didn't play for a long time. He was a backup in high school football. I mean, you could tell he wants to be good, and he's given it his everything. So I like that about him. And Mullen talks really highly of him. So and Mullen knows QB, so I like him.
Yeah, of course, when people forget, Mullen coached Dak Prescott at Mississippi State. Like you said, he does know his QBs. Josh Booty here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget the Believe in SEC QBs podcast. Follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Booty 10. when you look at the other quarterbacks coming out of the SEC, they're not as big names. They're not as high profile as some of these other guys, but Kellen Mond, Felipe Franks, what do you think those guys have to offer at the NFL level?
Well, I like Felipe Franks. I don't think he's a first rounder at all. One of my buddies is his QB coach out of Orange County, California, and he really likes kind of how he's progressed as a player this year at Arkansas, and then after the season, just in workouts and leading up to the draft and the Senior Bowl. He thinks he's a big old tough, strong arm guy that can get it done. I see him as being a backup for several years in the league and maybe getting a chance in 3 years. Kellen Mond, athlete. I know his dad. My dad and his dad are friends. San Antonio guy. I think in some games he's got to get more consistent. He wasn't accurate in several games that really hurt him, and then he'd come back and have a great game. So he was kind of riding a roller coaster all the time. Their team had a much better year. Jimbo is a wonderful coach, so he's had to work his butt off to learn everything that Jimbo. He's like a QB whisperer too, like Dan Mullen. So it's like I like the fact that Kellen Mond has played for Jimbo, and he's going to be a good pro. I just think he needs to get more accurate and more consistent. And being in a pro environment, he's going to have to be, or he won't be around very long. So he's got to be a little bit more accurate to be a real good pro.
Josh, tell me about the Social Challenge app.
Yeah, I'm launching an app. Me and my brother are launching an app with some real good friends at the Super Bowl, and it's called Bula, B-U-L-A. So it's bula.fun on the website. We hadn't launched the app till Friday, and it's a challenge, kind of anyone, anytime, anything. It's memorialize a challenge in 15 seconds on the app. So you can call out friends, you can trash talk, you can create videos and kind of have fun with it. So if you're a golfer, if you're a daredevil, if you're into sports, if you're contest, classmates, work associates, it doesn't matter. You can call them out and say, okay, I want to play the Chiefs -3 for the Super Bowl. How much you want to put on it? Or I can say, I bet you can't get that girl's number at the bar for a drink, and you can challenge them. So there's all kinds of different ways you can challenge a buddy. You can show your friends, your contacts can all watch the challenge, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So there's some corporate challenges, there's charity challenges. It's like Shaq could challenge Timberlake in a free throw contest for charity, and we could all watch it and put what we want to on the challenge. So it's kind of fun with the way I guess sports is and everything is now with social media. It can grow fast.
And that's B-U-L-A, correct?
B-U-L-A. Yep. Bula
app. There it is. The new app from Josh Booty over here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Before I let you go, I have a question for you, because you played football, you played baseball. And it's one of those things where if you ask people, depending on their background, they're going to give you a different answer. But you played both sports. I feel like you are very qualified to answer this question. What is harder to do? Is it to be a winning quarterback in the NFL, or is it harder to be a successful hitter in the major leagues?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. It really depends on your skill set. I think if you're a big, strong, tough, physical guy with a great arm, playing in the NFL is doable. There's a lot of learning to football that people don't understand, and it's like studying for a midterm test every week that you play a different opponent. And there's just a lot of speed and athleticism involved. In baseball, the ball's coming fast. It's hand-eye coordination. You can't have any holes in your swing. You've got to be patient. It's an everyday thing. It's so difficult to hit major league pitching unless you've got kind of that hitting gene. And that comes with a lot of work, a lot of practice, seeing a lot of different pitches and getting comfortable and accustomed to standing in the box and seeing some heat, And so I don't know, hitting the baseball is really, really difficult. I think I'm kind of the athlete guy. I was a raw baseball player, great defensively, but football kind of came a little easier to me. I could sidestep a guy and throw a 9 route with the best of them. But in baseball, man, if the guy's throwing 98 with a slider like John Smoltz, I faced him, Pedro Martinez, ball's moving like crazy. That's a tough deal to do unless you really understand hitting and can lay off breaking balls and all kinds of different things. So I don't know. It just depends on the skill set, to be honest with you. But baseball was tough.
All I know is I couldn't hit a lick for baseball when I played in high school. And when it came to football, I could tackle. I played a little defense. So I knew what I was good at. And I admitted that very, very openly. So
yeah, it ain't easy. Neither one of them's easy. I tell you, the speed of the game, you've probably been on the sideline of many a football game, college or pro. And if you get to that level of, at LSU where I played, or my brother played at SC or Bama, or you go to an NFL game, you're on the sideline, the speed of that defense tracking people down. It's amazing. You don't really get to see it on TV. The guys are fast, but in real life, it happens quick. And, I remember watching Ray Lewis go sideline to sideline when we were playing Baltimore. I probably played him 5 or 6 times when I was in Cleveland in that division. And I can just remember him going sideline to sideline, tracking guys down. I'm like, that guy is an absolute monster. No one wants any part of this guy. But he's doing it with, understanding the game and aggression to the max, and speed and agility. I mean, it's incredible to watch, a good running back in the NFL, a real good DB or linebacker, just because the pure athleticism is off the charts.
Yeah, you mentioned your brothers, Abram and John David. Of the three of you guys, who's the best athlete?
Oh, that's a good one. I have a fourth brother, Jack, that might be the best athlete out of all of us. He wasn't as tall, but he could run the football. He was a quarterback too. But Abram broke national receiving records in high school at Evangel where we played, and no one could guard him. He was an all SEC player at LSU. He was so good. He had back problems when he tried to make it into the NFL. But I don't know, JD had the best college career at SC. So I don't know. I was the only one to play 2 sports, so I mean, I can't say it wasn't me.
There you go. See, I love the confidence. That's what makes you successful. It's mostly mental, is it not?
Yeah, it is. We played a lot of horse in the backyard, and each of us have our stories of beating the other 3. So that's why we created Bula. We can challenge each other for whatever we want. Now we can talk smack.
There it is. BULA, the Bula app. He is Josh Booty. He is the host of the Believe in SEC Quarterbacks podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Josh Booty 10. And as all guests, he appeared on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Josh, appreciate the time and the conversation.
Man, thanks for having me. Anytime. Have a good week and enjoy the Super Bowl, brother.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. A lot of great stuff there from Josh. And Josh is one of those guys that you can ask a lot of different questions to. Is he'll give you a lot of different insights because he's someone who's seen the game from so many different angles. A lot of great stuff there with Josh Booty. Of course, still to come, Freddie Coleman, ESPN radio host here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, Game Night being brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Don't forget about the 55-1 odds boost you can get with FanDuel Sportsbook. Use my promo code Hennig, HENNIG, to get in all the action. Again, HENNIG on FanDuel Sportsbook. All you got to do is go to sportsbook.fanduel.com, throw that promo code in, and you have a chance at 55-1 odds on who you think is going to win the Super Bowl. You think the Chiefs or Bucks are going to win the big game? All you got to do is go to sportsbook.fanduel.com to get in on all the action. Again, the promo code is HENNIG. Be like me. Do all of your sports bets here in New Jersey or PA at sportsbook.fanduel.com to get in on all the action. Don't forget the very popular FanDuel Sportsbook app where you can take it on your phone anywhere in the world. Listen, FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of great betting options, including the same game parlays. I personally love the same game parlays. There's nothing like the same game parlay for an opportunity for you to double or triple your winnings, and you can only do the same game parlay with FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, the promo code is Hennig, HENNIG, to get in all the action. 55-1 odds. If you think the Chiefs, the Bucks, to win the Super Bowl, you can get 55-1 odds with FanDuel Sportsbook. Turn $5 into $275. Must be 21 or to play. Must be present in NJ or PA. For full terms, go to sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Still to come here is Freddie Coleman here on 97.3 ESPN Plus. Don't forget, we'll give you my FanDuel Sportsbook pick of the night. That is coming at you in about 12 minutes from now right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Carter Hunt gets over and makes a great save.
The Flyers host the Boston Bruins. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN, and listen live on the free mobile app.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township. Or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced with a new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Beach combing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Let's check in at the New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division.
Fire! Fire! Where's the fire?
Don't panic. You're just feeling the heat of our new Hot Sevens family of scratch-offs.
Wait, no fire?
Just the hottest tickets in Jersey, with top prizes up to $3 million.
Wow, I should tell Kevin we don't need the fire extinguisher.
I got it!
Extinguisher.
Play the new Hot Sevens family with over $325 million in cash prizes, because anything can happen in Jersey.
Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit ilovelyle.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, it's Super Bowl week, and of course, we're going to a lot of NFL this week, a lot to get to. And joining me right now on the Boardwalk kind of hotline, he is the co-host of Freddie and Fitzsimmons every Monday through Friday right here on 97.3 ESPN. Freddie Coleman joins us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Freddie, how you doing today?
Good, my friend. How's everything with you?
Doing pretty good. And look, this whole NFL season has been wild. It's so amazing we finally got to this point. I got to start off by asking you, because one of the things that's been really hot in this area is the fallout from the Stafford Goff trade. And, you know, everything in Philadelphia is Wentz here? Should he, shouldn't be here? And I feel like that we're going to start seeing a huge ripple effect from this Stafford Goff deal.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. As far as I'm concerned, that was the first domino to fall. And a lot of those dominoes that may continue to fall may not have anything to do with Deshaun Watson, who wants to be traded, but I believe the Houston Texans don't want to do it. And we'll see what kind of what kind of common ground they're ever going to have any conversation and try to get past this stalemate. But I'm with you. This is only the first of many moves that will involve basically quarterbacks that are going to change hands or change positions, whether it's a trade or whatever that's going to be. It is going to be some kind of offseason that's already gotten started for the National Football League when it comes to that carousel and that position of quarterback.
Everybody wants to talk about Watson and where he could go, but I want to know from you, is there another quarterback that you're keeping an eye on? Because we hear rumors about Kirk Cousins. We've heard rumors about Jimmy Garoppolo. We're hearing rumors about Sam Darnold. Is there another guy that you're watching closely outside of Watson to potentially be moved?
Well, I hate to bring him up, but Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay, because I still believe that he wants out of Green Bay. I still firmly believe that if he could find a way that if the Packers don't give him what he wants, then he could use that as a ploy for him to say, you know what, move on from me. You already drafted Jordan Love last year, and I guarantee you he has not forgotten about that. When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, he may say, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else and show you guys you should have treated me a lot fairly, even though Aaron Rodgers had power church and stayed in Green Bay for God knows how long with that organization. But whatever is there between him and the upper reaches of management, there's still some kind of potential disconnect that could be there. I'm still keeping an eye on that situation and wonder, okay, what if they decide to move on from him? Or what if he leaves them with no choice that they believe they have to move on from him? I'm keeping an eye on that situation to see how that develops in Green Bay, whether he stays or leaves the Green Bay Packer organization.
You mentioned the disconnect between the Packers and Rodgers, the disconnect between Watson and the Texans. Is there something going on? Is there maybe a change going on in the National Football League where there is this disconnect between the superstars and upper management that could potentially lead us down the road to maybe see a little bit more, how the athletes are empowered the way they are in the NBA?
I think it's different in terms of, I don't know if we're actually going to see that to that level. NFL owners are going to ever allow players to have the kind of contract that Deshaun Watson has, where there's a no trade clause. Mark my words, there are going to be plenty of GMs and owners that are not going to allow quarterbacks to have that, because they're going to say, Tom Brady never had with the New England Patriots. Why should we give that to you? And that guy's won 6 championships. So I think it's not going to be a cycle kind of thing where we see that. But I will say this, more than ever before, if a quarterback believes an organization is not doing things the right way or going about it the right way, he's going to exercise the option to say, I don't want to be here anymore. See what you can get for me. Or if you're a team on the other side, look at Jared Goff. 2 years ago, he had the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. 2 years later, they had no faith in him. They decided to go older with Matthew Stafford, believing he was that piece that Jared Goff was never going to be. So I think you can see both of those situations happen, because more than ever before, the NFL is no longer a week-by-week league. It is a second-by-second league, which means that anybody who believes they're safe, you may not be as safe as you think, whether you're a coach, and especially whether you're a quarterback, where you believe you're there, and they may be looking for somebody else to believe that you can't get the job done.
Freddie Coleman joining us here on the Boardwalk Hunter Hotline here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, you can catch Freddie every Monday through Friday night, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. He and Ian Fitzsimmons do a great job. You want to catch them. For those of us who drive home, for me, it's a 45-minute drive late at night. So for those of us, he is the voice of our drive home. So, Freddie, you are a very listened to guy here in South Jersey. And speaking of South Jersey, we got that Philadelphia Eagles thing in our backyard. Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni. It's turning into a nice little soap opera over here. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, soap opera is a great and accurate description for what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles, really since towards the end of the regular season, where we are now. But one thing I can't wait to find out is how's Carson Wentz, because I haven't heard anything about what he thinks about the new coach. He hasn't said anything publicly, at least what I have not seen. I want to know exactly what's going on with him, because it's going to have to be a quarterback competition between him and Jalen Hurts. He has too much of a contract that teams are not going to trade for. So the Philadelphia Eagles are stuck with him because they believe that he deserved that contract then, even if they don't believe he deserves that contract now. But I want to see how Carson Wentz is going to fix Carson Wentz, because this is not just a Coach Sirianni problem. It's not whoever you bring in as offense coordinator. Wherever Carson Wentz has to go to get back to the Carson Wentz we saw when he was an MVP, about to be an MVP winner before he tore his ACL during that Super Bowl year. He's got to find a way to get back to that, and only Carson Wentz can do that. You can get as much coaching and as advice as you possibly can receive your Carson Wentz, but he's got to figure that out. And if he can't figure that out, then it's going to be a whole new set of problems and distractions for a new head coach to deal with in Philadelphia, with a guy that has that kind of contract that you can't get from underneath but he can't find his way back to being the kind of quarterback you thought he was going to be when you decided to give him that kind of money.
And Freddie, that's the strange thing, because literally the only thing we've heard from Carson Wentz since December 25th was a social media post endorsing Rodney McLeod to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He hasn't talked to the media. He declined to speak to the media. This is the guy who hasn't posted anything on social media. It's got to be the strangest thing I've ever seen in 2021 to have an athlete who just is gone completely silent everywhere.
That may not be a bad thing, because maybe Carson Wentz says, you know what, I need to just dial away from everything and maybe he needs to find that peace of mind where he can just focus on football quarterback that he believes he can be. There are all those distractions that he was causing, that he was uncoachable, that he didn't take the demotion well, that he was trying to orchestrate different things in the locker room. Whatever that's out there, whatever was said, maybe it's a good thing that Carson Wentz has not had any kind of communication with anybody, whether it's social media or teammates, or anybody else in the organization, whatever that is. So if that is going to enable him to find his way back to being the kind of quarterback that the Eagles believe that he used to be, or that he can, it turned out to be that was the right thing for Carson Wentz. It is strange. I get it. So 2021, where everybody wants to be known or want to put their thoughts and processes out there for everybody to see and hear. But maybe this is not a bad thing for the health in terms of the football health of Carson Wentz, and maybe the football health of the future of the Philadelphia Eagles going forward.
Freddie Coleman joining us here on the Boardwalk on the Hotline, here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, co-host of Freddie Get Fitzsimmons. You can catch him tonight starting at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Freddie, obviously it's Super Bowl week. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the big game. And to me, the biggest matchup is not Brady Mahomes. It's not Kelsey and Gronk. To me, this game comes down to one thing. This is Todd Bowles versus Eric Bieniemy, Freddie.
Yep, and you can also use the same thing by saying this is Nolo versus Byron Leftwich on the other side, because which defensive coordinator is going to win that chess match? And Todd Bowles has done a terrific job as a defensive coordinator, especially ever since the whole thing that happened in the first half. Tyreek Hill was running rush out over his team. This team has not lost a football game Tampa Bay since then. Its defense has played extremely, extremely well. But look how the Kansas City Chiefs defense has played, especially in the playoffs. They've been terrific as done a great job pressuring the quarterback, making big plays, and getting that defense off the field and getting the ball back to the offense. So I'm with you. Todd Bowles versus Eric Bieniemy on one side, that's the match to look out for. But you can say the same thing as Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator of the city, and Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator on the other side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can use that whole thing for both of those guys, all four of those gentlemen that are going to determine this game, maybe even as much, if not more, than the players on the field for both Kansas City and Tampa Bay.
It's ironic because of the fact that, Todd Bowles and Eric Bieniemy are both guys who interviewed for jobs. They didn't get jobs. Now they get the biggest stage to showcase to everyone, hey, we are somebody who should be considered. And Byron Leftwich as well. I mean, that guy is a guy who's an NFL lifer at this point. He's played in the league, he's coached in the league. So you have some high-profile guys getting opportunities on the biggest stage to showcase their chops to the rest of the world.
Well, hopefully any coaching opportunities that may come next year, that whoever's in charge of that is going to pay attention to exactly what you said, what we're hoping to see, or what we think we're going to see in this game on Sunday. Because to me, it is absolutely criminal that Eric Bieniemy wasn't considered that strongly for coaching openings in the National Football League. And you can say whatever you want about why it didn't happen, that, well, maybe it's because of his skin color, maybe he's too associated with Andy Reid, whatever that is. But we've seen other guys with less of a pedigree than Eric Bieniemy become head coach in the National Football League. And I know they're a private enterprise in the NFL. You can hire who you want. But for the next time that an owner or anybody that's in the upper office of the NFL to say, we're going to make sure that everybody gets a fair opportunity, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to say, well, that's not true. You want to hire who you want, because no one is going to hold your feet to the fire to tell you exactly who you should consider. So that's not a shame thing. That's just being realistic from that standpoint. But I'm not going to try to hear from any owner who says that we want a level, even playing field. No, you want a level, even playing field if it's going to benefit you, not if it's going to benefit anybody else who has a track record that we've seen from Eric Bieniemy, what he's done with this offense. And yet he goes on interviews, and they didn't even think about hiring him. They brought him in to make sure they filled the quota, to make sure they were going to at least interview a minority candidate. But it is that he did not get full consideration when other guys who weren't even on anybody's radar, but they wanted getting head coaching jobs, or Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator of Kansas City.
And just to follow up on that, I'm also curious about the fact of there were more minority executives hired in this cycle than there were head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And well, listen, that's a great thing. There's more diversity in the front office. It does feel a little strange that you have organizations that were more willing to give these types of candidates opportunities in the front office instead of a position that we've talked so much about, which is the coaching position of a football team.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that was something that I noticed as well. And I said, okay, is that what they're trying to do? Trying to make sure, okay, let's worry about this part of the organization first. Then we'll think about the candidates that we want to hire, because no matter what happens, you can make recommendations, but the owner is going to hire who they're comfortable with, who they believe should be the coach of their football team, however conversation they may have or may not have had with any candidates that may have been out there. But I thought that was strange as well. Not strange in a bad way of thinking, okay, if that's the way you're going to go about it, okay, but they still report to the owner of the National Football League. And if he does not believe a candidate should be considered for a job being a head coach, he's going to tell the guy that he's paying his salary, say, nope, I want to interview that other guy again and see if he has what it takes to be a head coach. That's what it comes down to. We can say that there's progress being made, and there was progress being made from in terms of the general manager or player personnel standpoint. But until we see a level, even playing field where everybody's going to be properly considered, then it's always going to be that gray area that the NFL owners are going to play in, because they know that nobody's going to tell them what to do, and that's going to be that.
And that's the key word. One more for you, Freddie, and I appreciate your time here. Freddie and Fitzsimmons tonight at 9 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Minority candidates, because I feel like there's a group of people, not everyone, but there's a group of people who are overlooking the fact that Robert Saleh was hired to be the Jets head coach. Just because he doesn't fit a certain group of minorities, people are overlooking him altogether. Yep. And I think his hiring is just as important as any minority hiring, because this guy, he's a defensive coach. He's not an offensive wizard. He's a rah-rah guy. We know how some people are scared of the rah-rah guy. I think that his hiring is just as important as anybody, not just because he's a minority, but because of his background as well.
And also look at David Culley, now in charge of the Houston Texans, where he had been an NFL assistant for 28 years. And many people said that's important because this guy hung in and finally got a chance to lead a football team at 65 years of age. And when we discuss minority candidates, that also includes women, because at a certain point, when are we going to see women no longer just being coaches or being consultants? When are they going to be considered for coordinators and jobs like that? When are we going to see a Becky Hammond that we see being assistant coach of San Antonio Spurs? Are we ever going to see that in the National Football League? Because to me, that's a minority candidate as well. Somebody who's not a male, who has a football acumen, has football knowledge, but may never be able to break through that door, through that ceiling. So you're exactly right. There are candidates gotten jobs that we should talk about more and say, hey, that's a different kind of minority candidate that earned their way to get that job, with the Houston Texans, for example, and the New York Jets were the other example. But because Eric Bieniemy has been a hot name and has done a lot of great work helping Kansas City succeed, it just smells stinky to a lot of people. Think, okay, you regard those two guys, and it's not that he shouldn't be there, but this guy, why is he not getting a job? Or you hired two other guys that people didn't even know about, that nobody was talking about, and they don't have anywhere near the resume that Eric Bieniemy has.
He is Freddie Coleman, co-host of Freddie and Fitzsimmons tonight at 9 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. And as all guests, he appeared on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Freddie, appreciate the time. Always enjoy listening to you on my drive home at night. And have a great one, my friend.
My pleasure, my friend. And thank you for the kind words and safe travels, because I'm getting you home safely and I'm doing my job.
Great stuff from Freddie Coleman here on 97.3 ESPN. Again, 9 p.m. tonight. He is back on your radio. Great insights from him as well. As I promised you, my FanDuel Sportsbook pick of the night coming up here. Before we get out of here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget the FanDuel Sportsbook. Code word is Hennig, Hennig, when you sign up to get same game parlay insurance only with FanDuel Sportsbook. I'm going to give you a couple of picks, and I'm going to give you a same game parlay. So I am going to go with Celtics and Warriors over 227. And here's why for tonight's action. No James Wiseman, no Marcus Smart. So two defensive parts of both teams are not playing at all tonight. The Celtics are already almost giving up 110 points per game. The Warriors 113 points per game. So now you take out the best perimeter defender for one team and the best big man defender for the other team. I think this is going to be trouble for both teams defensively. This could be a high-scoring game. So I'm going over 227. My DFS pick is Eric Pascal. No James Wyman means more playing time for Pascal. Also, plus 4 rebounds. So 4 more rebounds for Pascal combined with the over 227 gets you plus 227 on the odds. That would be $10 to get you back 23. Also, if you want to go really in on Pascal, 6 or more rebounds plus 300 on FanDuel Sportsbook. So check that out. A couple picks for you for tonight. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, streaming live on the 97.3 ESPN, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, Josh, Booty, and Freddie Coleman for joining the show.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tomorrow night for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic in Ocean City from the Dixie Hal Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe's St. Augustine tomorrow, Wildwood Catholic Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
High blood pressure or hypertension is very